Hello, everyone. My name is Dannee Smith, and I am the co-author of the two books you see here, Shut 'Em Down, Black Women, Racism in Corporate America, and Everyday Struggle, How Toxic Workspaces Impact Black Women. I am very passionate about how Black women are treated in the corporate workspace, how Black women are treated everywhere. I am a mother of three wonderful adult children and a grandmother of a 5-year-old grandson. Very, very conscientious about how we keep our families together and what we do to represent our race. When I was growing up, I grew up in a very, very diverse home. We did not understand why people treated each other differently in the world because of race, color, creed. We didn't grow up with that kind of ilk, if you will. So I am proud to say that my parents reared me well. They really did. And I remember my father used to say, the difference makes no difference. Everyone is different. No two people are the same. And so differences should not be the common denominator for anything that leads towards dissension and hatred and ill treatment. I was also fortunate enough to, in my career, not only as a writer, but as a business person and as an aspiring employee to work for a company that valued my expertise, my skills, what I was bringing to the table. I was fortunate enough to have worked with a lot of white women who were my sponsors, who were my champions, who were my mentors. And I don't use the word white women to disparage any race or them, but it is was critical to my upbringing. I had a very sound family, did not know abuse, did not know any ilk, really, didn't grow up in any of that kind of stuff. But Shut 'Em Down is a book, an anthology written by 20 Black women who tell their stories about how we were impacted by systemic racism in corporate America. If you saw and witnessed firsthand, whether live or on a replay, day 3 of the most recent Supreme Court nomination hearings for the Honorable Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. If you saw day 3 and you saw Senators Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham ignorantly and very hatefully question Judge Brown Jackson, you witnessed firsthand what Black women go through every day. Yes, that is our everyday struggle. And so Shut 'Em Down, Black Women, Racism in Corporate America, was my story, is my story about what you witnessed on day 3 of the 2022 U.S. Supreme Court nomination hearings of Honorable Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. What you saw is our everyday struggle. So if you were watching those hearings and you were saying to yourself, wow, what a toxic space she's in for the moment. That space is not for the moment for Black women. That space is every day for Black women. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen to white women, but I'm not white. So I cannot speak for white women. I'm speaking for myself as a Black woman. So my story in Shut 'Em Down has to do with my experience with systemic racism in corporate America. And I wrote that because it wasn't about ranting and raving. We are often depicted as angry Black women because we are strong and we are forceful and we are intelligent and we are smart and we are calculating because we have to be, in a good way, in a healthy way, in a holistic way. And because we are those things and we are all that, we often find ourselves in spaces where people are intimidated by that. And so rather than those who are intimidated understanding where they're coming from and where we are coming from, so as not to make the difference matter and just to accept the difference as a difference and to understand the difference and how it can really energize and be used to the good, for the good of the whole. Instead of that, we are painted as with a false narrative as the angry Black woman because we are smart and we are strong and we are forceful. And so my story in Shut 'Em Down, my chapter is named Get the Language Right. And it comes from an unknown speech, well, not a not so well known, if I might, speech by the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had a speech. And he started out by saying somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language that made everything Black ugly and sinister and degrading and evil. And they made everything white, high, holy. But he said, I want to get the language right tonight. And I continue to want to get that language right about Black women who are forceful and strong and intelligent and who are, quite frankly, assertive. And our white sisters are often seen differently. There's a different narrative for them. When they are forceful and they are strong, they're assertive. But when we are forceful and strong, we're arrogant and intimidating. And our tone is policed. Some of what I discuss in Everyday Struggle, tone policing. Another thing I talk about in Everyday Struggle is, again, something you witnessed during the most recent Supreme Court nomination hearings, particularly with Senator Ted Cruz and Senator Lindsey Graham, when they hatefully interrogated the Honorable Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. They were gaslighting her, or trying to anyway. And so I discussed the gaslighting, I discussed the tone policing, and there were other things. I discussed sexism and harassment. And I want to say, let's get the language right about something else. Sexism, when women are pitted against women and women agree to do that, which was the case, I believe, also in the Supreme Court nomination hearings, we saw some of that. They pitted a Black woman against Judge Brown Jackson. They pitted another woman who was supposedly representing some foundation called the Underground Railroad, or some Operation Underground Railroad. Interestingly enough, it's a white woman that was representing Operation Underground Railroad. I don't know what Harriet Tubman is doing in her grave right now, but okay. But when we talk, why is it any different for a woman to go against a woman than it is for a man to go against a woman? You know what? It's not. It's all sexism. And so there is sexism between races, between genders. And I actually truly believe that, and I talk about that in Everyday Struggle. the sexism, but particularly when it comes to men and women, we all know sexism as men versus women, right? But I want to get the language right on that, and just suggest to you that there is also sexism between women as well, particularly when we do not support each other, particularly in the workforces that we are in. Another piece that I want to call to your attention is the fact that there are people in the workplace, people in the workforce who just won't change. And so what these two books are doing are bringing the world, bringing corporate America particularly, case studies on how Black women feel about how they are treated. I'm very vocal about this on Clubhouse, the new audio app. Well, not so new anymore, but for those of you that are not familiar with it, it's a new audio app. And I do host a room every Thursday evening on Clubhouse called Shut 'Em Down: Solutions for Black Women in the Workforce. And during that time, every Thursday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we do discuss, as part of the Women in Technology International organization, which sponsors the room every Thursday evening at 8 p.m. on Clubhouse, 8 Eastern Time. We talk about how can we solution towards these ills, towards this whole systemic racism that is blatantly against Black women. And again, I know that we all face some kind of discrimination in the workforce at times. We can all face that sometimes. But I do know from my personal experience, which again has been chronicled in Shut 'Em Down: Black Women, Racism in Corporate America, based on what I experienced. And I can tell you that I resigned from a job, from a position that I really enjoyed. I'm a writer. And so I enjoyed that position, but I did not enjoy the ill treatment. And it was not worth me continuing to sacrifice my health, my mental stability, my emotional stability, which not only affects you at work, but it affects everyone around you. And so at some point in time, we all have come to a point where we have to say enough is enough. So join me, I hope, in reading my testimony, my story in Shut 'Em Down: Black Women, Racism in Corporate America, and also what I consider to be the companion book to that, Everyday Struggle: How Toxic Workspaces Impact Black Women. You can find both of these books on my website, www.danneesmithmathis.com. Again, it's Dannee with an E, D-A-N-N-E, smithmathis.com. I would be happy to send you autographed copies of the book once I know that that's what you'd like. And it's been really, really a joy to be part of this wonderful conference. And I thank everyone for participating. Thank you, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.